How are we doing, guys? Always TV, Brighton 2, Leeds United 0. Player rating show. So this is going to be an interesting one. Let's get straight into it then. Chris and Phil join us again, as does Ethan. We are opening this one again to any Don level members. Check it out. The link is in the community tab if you want to check that out, guys. But without further ado, let's talk about probably the one. Oh, sorry, Ethan. That was my fault. That. Let's talk about that. I did genuinely slip then. Meslier was okay, I thought. He was decent. I'm not sure what kind of rating you can give him, but I'm happy to give him about a 7, to be honest. I thought he was okay. I thought he almost saved the penalty as well. As Chris said, it was so well struck. It was into the bottom corner, almost a side netted. I mean, yeah. Phil, would you have anything more to add on Meslier today?
I'm really glad that you've gone 7 because that's the only one that I was remotely confident about you coming to me first on. We can bin off the man of the match award because Meslier is the only person that could possibly claim it. Everyone else has no right. Look, penalties.
It's like winning a one-horse race, that though.
Yes, very much so. A penalty, if you're a right footer, if you go into the bottom right-hand corner, it's curling into the goalkeeper. If you go into the bottom left-hand corner, it's curling away from the goalkeeper. Pascal Gross sent it the right way. Meslier went the right way. He couldn't get there. Other than that, you'd fail to criticise him for anything he's done today. I think he's made a couple of good saves, kept the scoreline down. We've said they could have scored 5 or 6, and he's one of the only players that gets away with today for not getting absolutely tonked, which I imagine a few people are about to.
Yeah, no, it does feel that way. It's going to be quite a low ratings today. And this might be the high point of the show. This might be the high point of the show in that sense.
Right, guys, thanks for tuning in.
See, everyone else pause. Chris, anything else to add, mate, on Meslier?
I've marked him as a 6, mate, because he put Llorente in trouble with his pass behind him that then Trossard should have scored from. I mean,
Did Llorente put himself in trouble?
No, the pass went behind him, mate. It was poor. I mean, I'm calling out one pass. Everyone can misplace a pass, and pretty much everyone did. But my ratings are people are probably going to go, oh, you fucking arse, blah 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 today. But I don't care because to a man apart from Meslier,
me today.
Yeah, probably. To be fair, to a man apart from Meslier, they all deserve everything they get. Judged on a one-off game. I'll say that again before everyone starts again going, we've had a great season. Yeah, we have. But today they were dump. Meslier, 6. Average.
Okay. So that's 2 7s and a 6. Ethan, what were you thinking, mate, on Meslier?
Yeah.
6 as well. Okay. So 2 6s.
Going to be on the low side as well today.
I think we all are, mate.
Yeah.
I think we all are. So 2 6s, 2 7s. I'm going to have to go to our YouTube poll to the side this one then. Guys, make sure you voted in that. We're just adding players in.
I think we're getting overruled here, Oscar. I think we're getting overruled, mate.
Mate, I'm not going to have a massive panic about going from a 6 to a 7 for anyone today. Even if you want to go 5 for Meslier, I'm not going to kick off about it. I'm not going to defend anyone today, to be honest. So Illan Meslier, just wait till the updates the poll. Illan Meslier has got today. He's got 7. He's actually got 63% have gone 7, 25% have gone 6. So we'll settle on the 7 for Meslier. That will definitely be the high point.
Positive start, you know.
That's the positive start. He didn't let Morpay score. He didn't let Morpay score. Yes. But guys, please smash that like button. And subscribe if you haven't done already. So let's talk about the next player, Luke Ayling. I mean, the only thing I can remember about Luke Ayling was when he let the ball just run across his body. And you could just tell it was such an un-Luke Ayling thing to do. And you could just tell from that moment, even though we were only 1 down at the time, that it was just not going to be our day. As soon as that happened, I thought, well, the most reliable players on the team is just let the ball run out of play. We know this isn't going to be a good one. Chris, I mean, where would you start with Ayling?
That's probably the one thing that sticks in my mind as well. Because I know on the watch along we both just saw that was when we both just gave in. We were just like, oh god. Judging him around what I've given other players as well, I'm giving him a 5, and that's probably. Some people say it's harsh. Some people say I'm probably being generous. He wasn't He wasn't very good. He wasn't very good, mate. Not the usual Luke Ayling. Silly things like you say that we don't expect of Luke Ayling, and I'm going to probably repeat those words a lot today. 5, yeah.
Okay. Ethan, what were you thinking numbers wise on Bill Ayling today?
Yeah.
6 for Ayling. Okay. I'm thinking. I'm between a 5 and a 6. Phil, don't say it. Don't say it.
Oh,
You're going to.
You go.
I'll go 6. I'll go 6 for Bill. I'll go 6.
You can't cop out like that. Go on.
What? It's not.
Say it with your chest. Say 5.5 like you mean it.
I can't. I'm thinking. Actually, I'm thinking about Dan Burn running down that left-hand side. I'll go 5, actually. I'm thinking about Dan Burn.
My God.
No, but thinking about it, Dan Burn was just steaming through that right-hand side in the second half as it went on. So I'll go 5 for Bill Ayling. Phil, what are you saying?
So we've got a 5.5, a 6, and a 5. So
I've not even got the energy to debate that. After the post-match, I've not got the energy to argue with Phil Miles because you're so stubborn. I'm not gonna bother.
I believe Oscar said 5.5, guys. Do in the chat? Do we all agree that Oscar just said 5.5? We've got a 6 from Ethan, a 5 from Chris. I'm going to go 5.5, just the same as Oscar. As long as everyone's in agreement, we can all move on. How's that, guys? Yeah, all good.
So we've got 2 6s and 2 5s by the sounds of things.
No. Right. Cancel.
You've got to go 5 or 6.
No, in general, I didn't want to be so harsh, so I went 6 because I didn't think he was as bad as other players in the back four today. But at the same time, if the YouTube poll puts me down, I'm more than happy to bend and go 5 because 5 is more than acceptable for that.
Right, okay, so we've got 2 5s, 2 6s. I'll just have a quick look at our YouTube poll. It's even. It actually is even. It's 44% 5, 44% 6. Let me just update this.
Right.
I'm not having this. I'm not having this, you know.
Oscar, come on, let me have me a minute. You have got to start integrating into this poll.
No, it's not. It's actually, someone's just voted. It's 45% 6. It's 45% 6. So 6 out of 10 on Luke Ayling.
You've got to put a 0.5 option in the poll. I'm saying
no.
I don't have to do anything.
Chris, back me up, mate. Come on, please. Ethan's not gonna. Come on.
I'm saying nothing.
We've lost 2-0, Phil. Just now, not now, as the saying. Not now, Phil. Not now. Not now.
I bet you more than 1.5 in them comments right now. I bet you.
It's not. Right, Diego Llorente. Let's move it. Let's try and move it on a bit. Diego today.
Go on, I'll let you go.
He did obviously present that chance to Trossard that Trossard skied in the first half. Yeah. I can't think of anything else he especially did wrong. He just wasn't at the same level he was before. I'll go 6. I thought he was the better of the 2 centre halves today. I might be wrong. There might be things I'm completely forgetting here. But what would you say, Phil?
What did you give Ayling?
5 in the end.
You think Ayling was worse than Llorente?
Yeah, in terms of Dan Burn, I'm not going to have a massive argument about them. They were all bad. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say he was great. What are you talking about, Phil? He was great. I'm not going to start on that. Because when I do start doing that, I get stick in the comments. So I'm going to give myself an easy day today. No, I would have said not much in it, but I'd have said Ayling. Okay. Any particular reason why?
I went Ayling 6 and I went Llorente 5 because I think Llorente gave them one of their best chances to bury us. And I don't think, despite how terrible Ayling might have been, or average, I'm going to use the word average instead of terrible. I'll take that back. I think Ayling may have been average today. Llorente, based on what he gave us for the last 8 games in a row, was garbage. And he presented them their biggest chance to bury us, and they didn't take it. It could have been 5 or 6 today, and he didn't cover himself in glory at all. And the passing that we rave about wasn't there. There was, look, I'm not going to cast long-term aspersions on him. It wasn't good, was it, mate? I'm going 5. What
did you make, Chris, to Llorente coming off? I know it was a tactical change that we wanted to put Cock at the back, but did you find that interesting in terms of Llorente going off first? If you found anything, I say interesting, but I mean in the slightest way possible.
I didn't find it interesting because he could have dragged any one of them off. To be honest with you, I don't think it mattered. I think if we'd have had 11 subs, if you were allowed 11 subs, he probably would have made 11 substitutions today. To be honest with you, 10, not Meslier. But I've given him a 5.
What did Pico on?
No
way.
No.
Dallas in goal. I think it was
Dallas
what Chris was thinking.
I've given him a 5, mate. We saw nowhere near prime Llorente today, but again, they're going to be words that I will repeat frequently during the next however long this takes. To be honest,
probably another 10 times. I'm guessing
another 10 times.
Ethan, what were you thinking numbers wise on? I can't remember what player on.
Llorente.
It was Llorente. What are you thinking numbers wise on Llorente, mate?
You okay? Get
6. Okay, 6. So you said 5 there, Chris. Phil, you said 5. So that's, again, we're split 2 5s, 2 6s. There's not much in this, is there really, on the player ratings? Let's have a look at the poll. 64% have gone 6 on Diego Llorente. So we'll go to
people are being
6.
generous. I'm surprised.
Yeah,
normally when we lose, players get an absolute spanking on the polls.
Yeah, it's. I do find that surprising. Genuinely do find it surprising. Normally, when we do this, me and Joe have to lift it up a little bit in terms of the ratings and that. Try and be a bit more positive. But today we're being too positive by the looks of things. Too negative, sorry, by the looks of things. Let's talk about the other centre half then in this game. That's
because we had to sit through it and talk about it for 93 minutes. We're absolutely done in.
Oh, dear me. And 92 of those minutes were just being Phil just arguing.
I wasn't even on the watch along.
Oh, right, I thought you were talking about the post-match then. But anyway, the post-match is 92 minutes of us being Phil just arguing. We actually managed to argue then when we weren't even supposed to.
Me and Oscar secretly really like each other. It's just on these shows we pretend we don't.
Secretly, yeah, we do like each other. Yeah.
We do. Have you ever watched a transfer show, guys? We got on really well on there.
Well, we're going to be doing a plenty of transfer shows after this today.
Right,
all 11 positions.
Going, Tyler's going. Who else is off? Phil, get your spreadsheet out. Who's coming in?
Phil wants Costa on a 6-year contract, judging by the post-match.
No, I think he's already on a 5-year till 2024. Anyway, I might be wrong.
Go with
4-year.
I think he's here till 2024, so I don't think there's much your complaining's going to do about it, Oscar. But keep going, mate. I'm sure Oscar will listen to you.
Anyway, let's talk about Pascal. He was. I thought he was definitely the weakest of the 2 centre backs. I think on the goal.
Yeah,
me on the goal. I mean, there's 2 or 3 mistakes just in that one move, really. Probably. Because Pascal has been so good for us this season. I mean, if Ilan Meslier wasn't at the club, Pascal would be walking the Young Player of the Year awards. He might still have a shout of it. I think Meslier wins it though. Today was his poorest game in a Leeds shirt for me. I'd probably say that. And I think it's probably the
not going in.
First, he just wasn't great, was he, Ethan? What were you thinking numbers wise, mate, on Pascal?
Yeah.
5.
No, okay.
6. I think that's generous, mate. I think that's generous.
Yeah.
I was thinking more 5, to be honest, 5 out of 10. But considering Pascal, how young he is, the fact that this was his worst game and he's made the mistake that's led to a goal, it shows the progression he's made this year. If we're going to talk positive, let's be positive about Pascal because it'd be easy to batter him. But no, just in general. I mean, today he had a shocking 90 minutes. Today. But in terms of his progression, where he's at compared to other defenders of his age, he is up there. Yeah. He is well up there, isn't he?
Yeah.
But Phil, in general, what were your feelings on Pascal today?
I've given 5 just because I've given Llorente 5. I don't think one was necessarily worse than the other, to be honest. I think if I want to play devil's advocate, I can look at the second goal and actually say, does Pascal make a mistake as such? He does try and clear the ball, which isn't the best clearance in history. And then, don't get me wrong, I don't want to sit here and give Danny Welbeck too much credit and say he's a skillful player, but he's turned him and he's finished.
That's a good goal off Welbeck, isn't
it?
Though?
The finish is with Llorente's mistake that they should have scored from. In my eyes, the bigger mistake of the two is Llorente's than Struijk's, to be honest. So, overall performance aside, I couldn't necessarily pick one out and say one's worse than the other. I'm just going to say both of them were pretty much garbage. So I'm giving both of them a 5. Again, long term, it means nothing on either of them. This is a standalone performance, and fingers crossed it's better next week.
What were you thinking, Chris, in terms of your Pascal today?
Again, I am going to caveat my next few sentences with the fact that this is based on just today. I've given him a 4. That defending for that second goal was beyond schoolboy. Don't let the ball bounce. Certainly don't flick it back over your own head in your own 18-yard box. And then don't let Danny Welbeck Cruyff you.
Yeah,
I mean, just dreadful.
I was just playing devil's advocate, but
I know, mate. I know, and it's a great touch. If we're looking at it from a Brighton point of view, it's a superb finish after all the cock-ups leading up to it. There's no denying that. I'm being a bit tongue-in-cheek there. I'm giving him a 4. Llorente, if Trossard's honking miss had gone in, Llorente's getting a 4 as well.
Yeah.
So I'm giving him a 4.
Justification for the 5, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know it doesn't overly make sense, like, because the cock up could have. It was Trossard being bad that they didn't score, not Llorente doing anything.
Llorente got into Trossard's mind. He got into his mind and put him off.
I think overall, Llorente was slightly better today. Slightly better is such a strong term for them all today. Slightly not as bad as Pascal.
That's the phrase. Yeah, isn't it?
Slightly not as bad.
If you are still watching, turn off now. It's going to get worse.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got Gianni next.
Phil, don't encourage people to jump off. It's bad enough as it is.
But, a 4 for me, and if we were in any doubt that Coops may not come straight back in, Coops now comes straight back in.
Yeah.
He probably would have done anyway, but Coops is definitely straight back in now. So 4 for me, just on this game, he's had a great season.
Where are your Cooper haters now?
So we've got 6 off Ethan, 5 off me. Do you go 4, Phil? 5 or 4?
No. 5.
4, 2 5s and a 6. Okay, so let's go on to the YouTube poll, which shows. Bear with me 1 second, guys. Just refresh this. Always need to remember to refresh this. 40. Well, generous again. 46% have gone 6. Very generous. That I think the fact that 3 of us on this panel have gone less than 6. I think we've got to go down to 5, haven't we?
I think
so. Is that a go down to 5 motion? That Phil.
Go 5.
5.
I don't know who's been doing the votes, because everyone in the comments is saying we're being generous.
We're really not. It's not us being generous. Right, let's talk about Johnny Alioski then. Now, I'll go to you first, Phil, because I know how much you've always been a fan of Johnny. And
I am a fan of his general personality. I'm just going to give me 2 seconds to scroll through these comments, make sure my missus is not watching, and that she's actually looking after the child like she said she'd be, because I know she's a devil for this. She'll say she's looking after the little one, and then I'll say something about Alioski. I'll get in bed tonight and I'm in massive trouble. So while I can't see her in the comments anywhere, I'm giving him a 4. Let's move along to someone else before I get in any more trouble than I deserve.
I'd have gone 4 as well, nice, to be honest.
A 4's being nice, right?
Yeah, I mean, the amount of times just Alioski kicking the ball out of play, I think would have to justify a 4. But he did. Yeah. Come on, it was a
the penalty alone. What is
terrible game off Alioski's day. It was competition for that Fulham game. He provided today competition for that Fulham game in terms of
which one's worse?
This is a really positive chat, this is it. Which game was worse? Let's have a poll. Which game was worse of Alioski, Fulham or Brighton? Look, it wasn't good, was it today?
Bad.
The fact he came off at half time, not good at all. Chris, anything to add on Johnny today?
Yeah, it was shocking. I've given him a 3, mate, and I think I'm still being generous. He looked like an angry dog going for a pensioner's ankles when with that tackle. I don't know what he was doing. You missed the tackle, mate. Just leave off. Just leave off.
Yeah.
Just insane. And then, like you say, the amount of times the ball went under it. First 2 minutes, I think Jack Harrison passed a very easy ball back to him.
Yeah.
And he was just gawping off the other way in Granny Land, making dolphin noises in his own head. The ball just went under his foot. And you're just like, oh, it's going to be one of those days, is it? For him?
No, it was.
Ayling does the same thing on the other side.
Yeah, he did.
To use a Chris Kelly phrase, Ayling has credit in the bank. Alioski doesn't.
No, you're right. He was. I love Gianni, and I think he brings a lot to the team and a lot to the squad. But again, based on performance, he was absolutely honking today. So he's getting a 3 off me.
3, okay. I mean, that's just before. I mean, we have given Alioski a bit of stick there, and it's justified. It is justified. We've had 2 4s and a 3 so far, justified. But credit where it's due. Before this game, he's probably on his best run in a Leeds shirt for me. I genuinely do believe that. He was certainly at left back. I think he was having his best run. In terms of he was finding a bit of consistency as well in terms of against arguably the 3 best teams in the league. And it's just a shame that today, it just wasn't at it. It wasn't at it, was he, Ethan? What are you thinking numbers wise, mate?
He was terrible.
Terrible, wasn't he? Terrible.
Go on, Ethan.
That's fine. 4.
Yeah.
4. Okay, so that's 3 4s and a 3. This is a very positive rating, isn't it? 3 4s and a 3. Dear me. And this might not even be the worst it gets. It might get worse yet.
No, I think I've dipped. I think I've dipped.
It could still get worse. Dear me. The Twitter, even the YouTube poll, 50% have gone 3 or less. 36% have gone 5 and 14% have gone 4. So the actual YouTube poll is even more negative than us.
To coin a Wayman phrase, man of the people.
I mean, it's so conclusive as well. 50% have gone 3 and only 14% have gone 4.
Mate,
let's just give him a 3. Let's just give him a 3. And,
I am fuming. This is the one show my missus has chose not to watch. I am fuming.
But aren't you glad of that?
No, because I wish you were here.
You spreaded it all, Phil. You spreaded the Johnny dislike today.
Mate, I wish you was here to see the reality of what life is. That's all.
Blimey, that was a bit deep, Phil.
No. She thinks Alioski is our best player and that simply because he's an attractive man, he's the best player in our team. That's not how it works, love. No. Watch this.
David, mate, you got so triggered about Alioski. You dislike him so much, don't you? Like, so much.
As a character, he's one of my favourite Leeds United players in general. He is. Him, Matthias Klick, Luke Ayling for the shithousery aspect. I think the 3 of them are my favourites. For if I was in the stadium, the ones that I'd love the most, they're the 3. But out of those 3, the ones that has the least talent in this division is don't kiss his ass. He's not.
Listen, that's the only nice comment I have had all day today. I've been blamed for the penalty.
Deservedly so.
I've been blamed for the penalty. I've apparently tried to flick the ball over Robin Koch's head in the middle of our own box. I then got tricked by Danny Welbeck. I didn't wear my collar today. I've decided to put my hat on for this. I dare to say that we missed Rafinha. I mean,
all of those.
Ethan knows the score. Ethan knows the score.
All of them your fault, mate.
All my fault. I'll take it. I'll take it. But so yes, if anyone does say anything nice about me, I am going to flash it up, Phil. Thank you very much.
Just so you know, guys, I'm not in charge of what he flashes up. That is solely him. So I'd be flashing up far more of your positive comments. But, Oscar just wants to make it about him. That's the way this works.
Well, that was nice. That was a nice thing to say, Phil. Now I'm going to get even more abuse. Right, so we have had so far 6 Melier, 5 Aylin, 5 Llorente, 5 Pascal, 3 Johnny. Right, let's move on to Robin Koch. Robin Koch's another player I'll put up there and say, along with Pascal Struijk, probably had his worst game in a Leeds shirt. Bar his debut against Liverpool when he struggled in that one as well. I'd probably say this was his worst, to be honest. I think defensively, I agree with Chris with what we said during the game. He didn't do that much glaringly wrong in the game. He wasn't Calvin. He clearly wasn't Calvin. And I could 100% see the argument Calvin's the most important player in the team. But on the ball, Robin Koch today, dear me, how many times? I mean, he just needed to take a touch. Everything he was trying to do was one touch, and we kept losing. It was just his passing accuracy today must be the lowest in the whole team. To be honest, I think it's as low as anyone. It was a poor game for Robin Koch today. I'd probably say 5 on Robin Koch. So he started the ball rolling on the 5. What would you say, Chris?
4.
Okay. I'm not going to have any kind of big debate about that.
We were saying, mate, his tracking of the game, certainly early doors and reading of it, seemed okay defensively. But when you're playing in defensive midfield, it's got to be more than that. You're about the transition. You're about bringing others into play, and everything. When he actually touched the ball today, it just went Pete Tong. Do you know what I mean? And again, I'm a massive fan of his. I think we've got a great buy there. In fact, we've got an absolute steal there for the money he cost. But going off just today's game, a bit of a limp cock. Couldn't resist. 4.
Yeah.
Did you not think there was a solid cock today?
No, I don't. I didn't actually.
Do you not think that he was a rock hard cock in midfield now?
I think I'm listening to one right now, to be honest.
Boom. Moving along after that, Oscar.
So Cock wasn't up your street today, no. Oscar.
Robin wasn't very good today. No, he was pretty poor today.
What did you give him, Oscar? 5?
5, yeah.
That's a sturdy appraisal for the Cock.
Average.
Well, Joe's gone lower on the Cock, and I think you've been very kind to the Cock. So, yeah.
Phil, you try to find it, but it's just not landing, mate. It's just not landing.
Not landing now, no.
No, to be fair, I've gone 5-2, Oscar, mate. I just wanted to reel you in, that's all.
Ethan, what were you thinking numbers-wise on Robin today?
Yeah.
6.
6.
6?
6. So that's 6, 2 5s, and a 4.
6?
Fucking actor.
Right. I'm going to have to bully you down to a 5 at least here, mate. You can't have a 6.
What does the poll say? I'll be interested in this one.
Let's go to the poll. So I've only opened this poll up to Oscar Marriott and Robin Koch. So we'll have a look at this poll. 50% have gone 5 on the poll.
Enough.
So I think we're gonna have to go 5 overall on them.
I think that's our average, isn't it? You two gave him 5, Ethan gave him 6, I gave him a 4, so makes sense.
You've got the average.
Ethan,
average is fine. Average is fine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's be honest when we're talking
Ethan,
about
you're the
Robin.
Going to get stick for this week in, week out now, mate. You've just taken it off Oscar. Well done, pal. We have a new
It was average today. It was average.
Who's next? Come on, I'm loving this. I'm loving this.
That's the thing. I always thought that Cox tended to shrivel in the winter, to be honest.
Because I've remembered that Alioski isn't my lowest on its own score.
Is it? No. Who's? Oh, it's Tyler Roberts.
Tyler.
Yeah.
Tyler Roberts.
It's a spoiler. It's a spoiler alert.
I'm tuning in now just for the rest of this. Come on, Chris. Spoiled it.
It was a
Who's next? Who's next?
Anyway, I'm
Oscar?
not going to come up with another Robin Koch thing because it's.
Come on, Oscar. Who's next?
next player. Let's move on.
We've
quickly.
done it to death.
Dallas, Stewie Dallas today. He was again probably Dallas was. I thought it was pretty poor today, to be honest. I'll be honest. I'm thinking 5 or 6 tops. To be honest, on Stewie D. Phil, I'll go to you first, mate.
Just based on the fact that I call 6 average, I've called Stuart Dallas bang average today, and I've called him 6. It could be harsher, it could be lower, but out of everybody on that pitch, do I think he massively underperformed what I expect of him in comparison to the other 10 players? Nah, he covered every player.
Stewie D. Stewie D's like. I thought I think considering what he's done over the season, I thought it was a pretty poor performance today.
I don't know, because I said on the last show, I thought when it came to Jack Harrison, I had a 30-second spell where I wrote in my notes, Jack Harrison, Matthias Klick, and Luke Ayling all tried to swing a ball into the box, and none of them hit the first man. None of them got past the first man. Stuart Dallas was the only person I saw put 2 or 3 crosses in that beat the first man today. And I actually, even though they have Dan Burn, who's 6'6", 6'7" at the back, I actually thought the reluctance to put the ball in the box was what was so depressing about us going forward today. If you're not going to put the ball in the box, at least penetrate through the middle. We didn't look like we were asked to do either. So when we were in wide positions, Dallas was the only one that could actually ping a ball in. So I don't think he deserves to be criticised anywhere near as much as the rest of the lot that we're about to deal with are going to be. So I've gone 6.
Okay. Chris, what are you thinking of on Stewie D today, mate?
It's a tough one. I've gone 5, mate. I've given him probably a bit more leeway than others, and do you know what I mean? I'm still giving him a 5.
Yeah.
I agree. He was the only one from set pieces, certainly, who was beating the front man and putting in dangerous balls most of the time. But apart from that, I just think it was a waste in being out on the right hand side. That's not his fault. He's gone and played where he's told to play. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But personally, looking back on it, I think moving him out of midfield was a mistake. And I'd have said that before we kicked off as well. I think it was a big loss. But 5 for me, mate. I can't ring him out, but.
Ethan, what were you thinking of on Stewie Dallas today, numbers wise?
You okay? I get
6. Okay, so that's 2 6s, 2 5s.
This will be a 6 on the poll.
YouTube poll, 64% have gone 6 at this moment in time. So we'll give Stewie Dallas a 6. So next player, let's work our way along. Let's go to Matthias Klick.
Oh, here we go.
I actually, first 10, 20 minutes, I thought he was all right. I've actually thought he looked decent. And then something happened. We conceded. And then probably the worst player on the pitch after that, to be honest. And that hurts you, though. This actually, what I was saying before, obviously me and Phil had that little argument in that loss about players. And it hurts me having to say stuff like that I'm having doubts about Matthias Klick next season, in terms of the way he's playing at this moment in time.
Yeah.
There's something, you've said it as well, Phil, in terms of this operation. You don't just go from this to this in 2 or 3 months. It just doesn't happen in football. No. So I've still got that hope in Matthias Klick. I think, as you've said, Chris, he's got enough cash in the bank to, not massively going on Matthias Klick. I mean, today, by all means, going on Matthias Klick, but you can't question that what he's done for this club, since he's been here. But today, 4 out of 10. I'll go with on Matthias Klick. And that's probably the lowest I think I've probably given Klick in a long, long time.
I'll go.
What are you thinking, Chris? If I go 4, he's going to go lower.
He's getting a 3 off me, mate.
Malioski?
Yeah.
Really?
I think he looks completely shocked of any confidence.
Yeah.
On the ball, he was dreadful. He's passing. Yeah. The amount of times I said in the watch along, "Oh, Klicky, what are you doing?" It felt like I was a broken record. And I've got to repeat what Oscar said, mate. it hurts to say that for what this bloke has how he's played over the last 2.5 seasons for this football club. I hope this isn't a terminal drop off of Matthias Klick. I really do. And I don't know whether it is or it isn't. I hope there's still that injury there, which seems to be a consensus in places that he is injured. I hope he gets the operation needed and he comes back firing, because I would hate to see a whimper off and sold on the cheap and back in, some league in Europe, second league in Europe, or in the Championship again, because I think he deserves more than that. But moving forward, we also can't carry passengers. And if he's not going to be the Matthias Klick we need, then there's questions, isn't there? But on today, I'll give him a 3. But I love the bloke. I think he's superb, but he was dreadful today. It does hurt saying that. It really does.
No, it does. It does. It's Phil. I mean, do you think a 3 was harsh there, mate? You seem to be thinking it was a bit harsh there, possibly.
First of all, I don't think 3's. I mean, I'm disgusted by today, but I thought Alioski was our worst player on the pitch, and I didn't even get 3. So I think 3 for any performance is sort of. So I've got a 0 to 10 scale of what I think is how I measure my performances, and none of them have 0.5s in Oscar before you get.
What would a 3 be? Just out of interest, in terms of how bad would you have to be to get a 3?
So 1 is Loris Karius in the Champions League final against Real Madrid.
Right.
3 is exceedingly bad, with 2 being absolutely shocking and 1 being Loris Karius. I don't think Klick was exceedingly bad. I think it was a collective terribleness, which as a collective, I would give the entire team 5 out of 10. I think with Matthias Klick, I've said it for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. I think there is an injury that has been carrying on for 1 minute. What she said? 3.5, love. Anyway, move on. Get her off. She's definitely missed what I've said about Alioski already, or she wouldn't have put that. It would have just been 0.5. You're on the sofa. I think Klick, for me, I've given him. Maybe you think I'm being generous, Chris. I've given him 5. Alioski was a 4 for me. That's the lowest. I think everyone else is somewhere between 5 and 6, apart from Meslier, who.
No, I think the way you've rated everyone, mate. I think we're agreeing in probably order of badness that they were today. Yeah. I think we're just on a slightly different area on the scale, mate.
I think 3 is incredibly harsh, and
probably,
I think
mate.
3, if he'd had a run of, I know we're judging on individual games, but if he'd had a run of terrible games, and then he'd gone from a 6 to a 5 to a 4 to a 3, and it's a gradual decretion of what's going on, then I can kind of understand. But I think overall, recently, while his minutes have been limited to 10 minutes off the bench here and there, I think he's looked sharper when he's been given 10 minutes. This is the first time we've seen him play 90 minutes in God knows how long, and it was the wrong time to do it. And is that his fault? Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say Marcelo Bielsa's wrong, because I think Marcelo Bielsa is the closest thing to God that anyone should ever believe in. But at the same time, I do think for him to play 90 minutes today was the wrong call. I think for the argument that I said earlier, I think Dallas should have been left back. Gianni Alioski should have been left wing, Harrison right wing. And then if you want centre midfield, you can put anyone else there. You can put Poveda on. I don't think Klick should have been given 90 minutes today, and I think that's not fair on him. So I don't think it's a case of an injury as such, otherwise he wouldn't be playing at all. I think he's not to the level of fitness that he should be to be playing 90 minutes. And we saw that with Forshaw. We saw the risk that we took with him. We saw that the consequences that's had in his career, and I don't think that's the right thing to do for an individual. That's my opinion on one individual, and that's why I'm not willing to give him anything anywhere near as low as a 3. I think 5, for me, is slightly below average. I expect better of Klick today, but nowhere near as low as a 3.
Okay. Ethan, what were you thinking numbers-wise on Matthias Klick, mate?
Okay, he will tell you. I've got
4 on Matthias Klick. Okay, 5. Okay, so that's 2 5s, a 4, and a 3. Let's just go to our YouTube poll. 1 second, guys. Our YouTube poll says, well, it's been positive. 50% have gone 5. So, Chris, we've been outvoted here, mate. It's a 5 out of 10 from Mateus Click. 2 5s, 4 and a 3. Fair enough. I'm not going to complain too much about that at all. But we have actually got we've got a new guest actually just about to appear. But Ethan, thanks so much for coming on, mate. We're gonna let Justin jump in here, mate. But thanks for jumping in, mate. As always, a stalwart on All Leeds TV, man. Your support is very much appreciated. Thanks so much for coming on, mate. Hope you have a top quality weekend. Just forget about this game, mate. We beat Tottenham next week. Rafinha, Phillips come back in. Doesn't matter who's more important. We're going to beat Tottenham next week. Not a problem at all. See you later, man.
Yeah.
And we're just going to let a new making his debut on All Leeds TV, Justin Cross, who is here. How are you doing, Justin? Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
No problem. Not the ideal ratings to make your debut, though, is it really?
That's an understatement, mate. That's an understatement and a half, that, mate. So we're going on to now. So just on Mateus Click. Just before we move on from Mateus Click, I mean, any general thoughts on him today in terms of it, not just necessarily today, but his general form? I mean, the way he's dropped off this calendar year. Is it a massive concern now for you?
Today, I thought it was dreadful. But no, to be fair, I'm not a Click hater, really, to be fair. Okay.
I mean, I'd say I don't think any of us are Click haters on the channel. I think.
Can I ask, just to get myself out of trouble here, what did you think of Alioski numbers wise?
I've done a mint poll. Alioski's like one of my favourite players. But I even had a pair of Adidas trainers made with his name on and all that. But today, absolute garbage. 5.
Oh.
Okay.
I thought you were going lower there, mate. I got excited.
No.
Justin, Phil's
4.5 for you, Phil.
Another win. Thank you. Oscar,
Phil's
you hear that?
Not a big fan of Alioski, Justin. That's fair to say.
I am. Oscar, did you hear the number that he said, mate?
Yeah, I did.
What number did he say? Just out of intrigue.
4.5. But we've done Alioski. So, right, let's move it on.
Can just clip 3 seconds out of this podcast and it's Oscar saying 4.5 and just post it on his wall after Monday, obviously. But keep posting it and posting it and posting it to Oscar for the next year. That would make me really happy. If you don't want it, that's fine. I'll do it myself.
Second or third time you've encouraged people to just give me abuse. But anyway, right, let's move it on. Let's move it on to...
isn't abuse. It's just...
Well, you know what you're doing. Right, let's move it on.
The truth.
Right, let's move it on. Not John Alioski. Tyler Roberts today, Justin. What was your thoughts on Tyler today?
To be fair, first 10 minutes, I thought we were maybe going to see a good Tyler Roberts, but after that, no. Didn't
just dropped off, didn't he? I think there was a spell in the game when me and Chris were watching it where I actually agree with you there, mate. I think Tyler did start the game lively, probably our liveliest player in the initial sort of spell of the game before they scored. But there was a period of like 10 minutes just for half time when simple little passes were coming into him and they were bouncing off him. Bouncing off him and setting Brighton away at the other end of the pitch. That was from that moment where Tyler's confidence just went bang like that, didn't it?
Yeah, I did because I planned on trying to come on tonight, so I did a bit of a fill and started making a couple of notes and this, that, other. And then wife come home, she wanted dropping off her sisters. So that's why I've only just come on now. But come half time, notes weren't bidden, to be fair. It's fair. It's fair. Chris, I mean, any thoughts on Tyler? Since I gave Tyler criticism on the post match, and me and Phil had a bit of a to and fro into fair about it. But I just don't look at Tyler at this moment in time. I think he can confidently
replace Rafinha's creativity or even come close to replacing that level of creativity or influence in the final third for me.
Look, I get dug out either way, mate, on what I say about Tyler because of my opinion previously about him. So I'm going to be, again, like I've been with everyone else today, judge it on just today's performance. And for the first 20-ish minutes, I thought he's our most dangerous player here. If that ball he flicks over Harrison, who took it out the air like God knows, like he always does, and then takes the shot. If that goes in, we're screaming that's one of our goals of the season because the flick was audacious from Tyler. It was a great bit of skill, and there was other bits he did that were good as well. But like you said, after 25, 30 minutes, nothing stuck, and then in the second half, he just went missing, completely missing. Ratings wise, I'm struggling with Tyler. I really am. Maybe a 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go a 5 for Tyler. I don't think he was nowhere near our worst player today. Nowhere near. But I still want a lot more from him, and I'm not sure if he's going to give me as much as I want from a Premier League midfielder, stroke striker, wherever he ends up being. Time will tell. But on today's performance, mate, a 5.
Yeah, I'd probably say 5 as well, to be fair. Justin, what were you thinking numbers-wise, mate?
5.
Okay.
5 across the board, apart from I want on earlier when it was Meslier. I'd say 7 for him, but for rest, maybe a 6.5 for Phil with that little hiccup he did early on and give ball away where we nearly cost another goal.
Hey, fair enough, man. No, I agree with that. I mean, there's not much in it aside from Meslier in terms of all the players. I could actually just give a flat rating out of 10 for pretty much everyone. To be honest, yeah. I could quite happily go right now 5 out of 10 for everyone. But Phil, you're saying, mate, on Tyler today?
Mate, I'm still busy being smug about the fact that our wonderful guest here decided that he wanted to say that doing research and making notes was doing a Phil. I'm taking that as the only positive of this show. If you want to see me later, boys, I'm off.
Well, when you're sleeping on that sofa tonight, you'll be thinking to yourself, I'm doing the Phil. I'm doing a Phil.
I'm doing a Phil sleeping on the sofa in the doghouse because I've called the truth about Alioski. Anyway, moving on to Tyler Roberts. Now, I'd give him a 5. I don't think, like I've said, I think a 4 is the lowest we should give anybody. I think other than Meslier, I think a 6 is the highest we should give anybody. I think Tyler had glimpses of okay, but at the same time had glimpses of what the hell is that touch, which is something we have said before the consistent run happened. And I don't think he created what we needed from him today. Pressing-wise, not a problem. Effort-wise, not a problem. But generally, as a consensus of opinion, the entire team was 5 out of 10 max today. So if people want to say he goes out on loan next season, I understand the argument. I still think he strengthens our bench if we have a Rodrigo de Paul in. But
I think we've said it before, Phil, that the thing that keeps Tyler at Leeds next season is the fact that Pablo's going.
Yeah.
So we're losing a midfielder.
Yeah,
so we either need to bring in 2 or 3 or bring in 1 or 2 and keep Tyler at the club. So probably money dictates that Tyler will still be at the club next season and not out on loan.
Yeah, I would argue it. I'd be incredibly surprised to see Tyler Roberts, or I know Jamie Shackleton's been mentioned on this show as well. I'd be incredibly surprised to see either of them go out on loan, to be honest. Paveda the same. I think the 3 of them, in an ideal world, are fantastic options off the bench for us next season.
This is where we had the argument, but are they fantastic in terms of a team that's hopefully going to be pushing up for like top 7, top 8? Would you say they're fantastic options?
Well, how old are the 3 of them? Are any of them over 23? No. They're all under 23. We've got an under 23.
Yeah, but we talk about the here and now, though.
But we've got an under 23 squad that's just been promoted to the PL1 Youth League, and they're not going to walk over the PL1 League like they did the PL2 League. So I think if they were to get game time minutes against people of a similar strength and age as themselves in the under-23s next season, I think they could benefit massively from being under Marcelo Bielsa's tutelage in our under-23s, playing football, getting minutes. Then, like Chris, I know he's left the room and I can't hammer him. He said Tyler Roberts to Derby. Do I want Tyler Roberts? Look, Wayne Rooney's in charge of Derby. The guy's got no managerial experience whatsoever. There is no manager in the Championship I would want coaching our players when it comes to Shackleton, Pervader and Roberts. Those three in particular, they're all under-23s. They can all play in our under-23s. They can strengthen our case against an under-23s level we've never faced before for a very long time. And they're all following the methods of an absolute bloody genius. Do I want them to be playing for Wayne Rooney in League One? No, I don't.
Well, when you say... The thing I take is when you say fantastic options, I think fantastic options, I'm thinking if Rafinha isn't available, if Stewie Dallas isn't available or Bamford isn't available, you look at those players and you think
adequate.
They can come in.
Adequate. I get your point.
But the thing I'd say is the drop off would be big. And it shouldn't be that big for me. For a depth, if you want to push for the top, it is pretty big. For me, it's pretty big. Would you say it's pretty big, the drop off in depth?
Between which individual? Pick an individual and say where, which one?
Okay, say today in the second half, Rafinha and Pervader.
Right, yeah, that is a big one. But I would say that the second choice to Rafinha is Helder Costa, and that's a big one. So for me,
I still say that's big though. I still say even Costa.
Yeah, I agree. But for me, Pervader isn't backup to Rafinha. Pervader is backup to Helder Costa, and I would say the gap between Helder Costa and Pervader isn't that big. And then at the same time, if you're looking at Tyler Roberts,
Costa and Rafinha is a big difference. Difference.
Rafinha between any of our players, Rafinha and Jack Harrison is a massive gap, and that's talking about one of the people I trust the most in this squad. Rafinha isn't fair to compare, but okay. I don't think Pervader's second choice to Rafinha. It's as simple as that. I think he's second choice to Helder Costa, and I don't think there's that big a gap between the two of them. Chris's face is agreeing with me. I would say with Tyler Roberts, Rodrigo has been fit for a while now. Rodrigo's been on the bench. Tyler's been starting games. At this moment in time, I'm not talking generally quality-wise. Rodrigo's a better footballer, but in this system and their understanding of this system and the way they fit into this team, I don't think there's that big a gap between Roberts and Rodrigo as of yet. When Rodrigo implements himself into this system properly, there will be a gap, but at the moment there isn't. Shackleton, at the moment, he can play centre mid, he can play right back. There's a slight gap between him and the other centre mids. There's a slight gap between him and Ayling, which is why he's not getting enough minutes. But for me, I still don't see the gap big enough to send him out on loan. I think all three of them benefit from staying.
Okay. No, I'm not going to necessarily disagree with that. So we've got 4 5 out of 10s for Tyler.
Really, to be fair.
Sorry, Justin. Sorry, you cut out a little bit there, mate.
I don't think we'd want any of our players really going on a loan to Derby, would we? Really?
No. Well, they're in League One next season anyway. What does it matter?
Yeah.
Casilla can.
Yeah, no, he can go.
If Derby are willing to pay, then Casilla can go there.
Yeah. Not on loan.
Permanent. As long as they're paying the wages, I'm perfectly happy, mate. I'm perfectly happy with that arrangement.
No. I don't want a loan. Take him.
Right, we'll move it on. Let's get the ratings out of 10 for Tyler Roberts. I just need to refresh the page. Tyler Roberts. So we've got 4 5 out of 10s here for Tyler. Okay. Yeah, 71% have gone 5, so that's pretty conclusive. Let's go on to Jack Harrison. Again, similar to Tyler for me. His set-piece delivery today was just shockingly bad in terms of the amount of times he didn't beat his first man. It was in fact, I'd probably go 4 for Jack Harrison, just for that, how frustrating his delivery was today. It was terrible, his delivery today, even in open play. The amount of times the ball went over absolutely everyone or it didn't beat the man. Really poor today, Jack. I mean, there's quite low ratings coming in. Justin, what were your thoughts to Jack today?
Not very good. To be fair, I thought he started game off half decent again. but only for a short period, 5 minutes. And then, like you say, it wasn't his game today at all.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was. I think the biggest. The time we could tell it was cursed, his game today, was when me and Chris were saying, when Jack Harrison's first touch is bad, that's when you know we've got a problem. And then about a minute later, the ball just bounced off him into the stand. They're thinking, yeah, we're in trouble today. We're in trouble now today, I think I said to Chris. But CK, I just called you CK then. I was thinking I'll mix it up a little bit. CK, JH was not very good today, was he?
No, mate. I mean, it seemed like first half he couldn't beat the first man, and then Bielsa's I'd give him a ringing in his ear at half time and gone, I'd help if you beat the first man, Jack. And then he thought he took that upon himself to mean beat every man and try and hit the linesman on the other side. Yeah, and it was. We were saying, if his first touch fails him, that's it. The world's over. The one thing he can rely on is Jack's first touch, and then it bounced straight off him. I've given him a 4, mate, and I love Jack Harrison. And yes, we should still buy him. I saw people early going, we should tell City we don't want him. Absolute nonsense. For £10 million, the bloke's an absolute steal still. He's having a bit of a dip in form. But apart from Bamford, is he level with Dallas on goals, or is he one ahead of him? But he's up there, isn't he? He's one up, isn't he? I thought he was, Phil.
He's ahead on goals and assists.
Yeah, that's right.
So he's our second most influential player when it comes to goal getting in the team. He's had a decent season. He's having a bit of a dip in form, and that's all I think it is with Jack. It's a bit of a dip in form. For £10 million, the lad's still a steal. But 4 for today, just like I said about everyone else, judging him on just today, he was pretty pump.
Yeah, he was. I mean, Justin, do you think that's a bit over the top? Any discussions about not signing Jack Harrison? Do you think that's a little bit over the top reaction-wise?
Definitely over the top. Yeah, I mean, he has been a good player this season. Today wasn't his day, but now I'd still go for Jack Harrison.
Yeah, I still think 11 mil's really good value. If we can get that, absolutely snap City's hands off for that all day long. He's still young, Jack Harrison. He's almost as young as Tyler. So, I mean, Phil, any feelings on Jack today?
I'm really shocked as to who thinks that we shouldn't sign Jack Harrison.
I've seen a couple of comments come in. To be fair on Jack,
feel free. You've got my Twitter handle. Feel free to privately message me, and I will happily have this conversation with you as to why you think for £11 million, based on the 3 seasons that he's had with us, why you think we shouldn't sign Jack Harrison for £11 million when not digging him out held a Costa is 16 million. Jack Harrison minus Patrick Bamford is our most productive player this season. He's got the most goals and assists in this squad. Stuart Dallas is going to get a lot of people thinking he's player of the year. He's not given as much as Jack Harrison. It's a fact. He's not as important as Calvin Phillips is to this system. He doesn't contribute as much goals as Patrick Bamford, but he's the most effective presser we have. He is. I've made the joke before, and you two have laughed at it. I think his left foot is a cloud. It cushions the ball down like effortlessly, and nobody seems to see the way. And yeah, you're still laughing, but I think 4's incredibly harsh on today. I think, yeah, I agree with that. I think 11 million quid is half of what Jack Harrison's worth.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
For a left-footed winger of his age that's English, don't forget English sort of seems to bang £10 million on the price for no bloody reason. He's at Manchester City, which also seems to bang £10 million on the price for no bloody reason. We have got a spectacular deal for 3 years out of this. Whether that's because of the Bielsa-Pep relationship, who knows? I think we've got a really good deal out of this. I think he's been one of 4 most important players under Bielsa in the last 3 years. And I think today, I actually thought the only way we were scoring a goal was if Jack Harrison scored. And he had one shot that was off target, one shot that was very close to being a goal. And I'm counting it as on target, but it was off target. And I thought the entire performance today was pathetic. His crossing was pathetic. His corners are pathetic. But when it comes to a goal threat, and I've campaigned for Bamford being given nothing in the last 5 games, but when it comes to creating something for himself, I thought Jack was the only person that tried to create anything for himself today. So why anyone thinks we wouldn't sign him for £11 million is baffling to me. Absolutely nuts.
Well, let's get some numbers in. So, Justin, did you say 5 for Jack Harrison? 5. Okay, so
I went 6. I thought he was one of the ones that didn't deserve hammering today. In all honesty, apart from the delivery,
I thought the delivery.
Yeah, the delivery's dreadful, mate. But who was going to score a goal for us today?
That's an excuse, poor delivery.
That's why I've given him a 4, because that's what he's there to do for me. He's there to deliver the ball. So that's why I've given him a 4.
Yeah.
And again,
what you just said there, Phil, is like me deciding.
I don't disagree, but on the overall performance, I would disagree that 4 is quite harsh.
Okay.
Delivery alone, fair enough. The delivery wasn't good enough, but there's more to a performance than delivery.
Yeah.
Okay. No, not this.
Mate, if I was doing it on
anything else.
I was doing it on delivery alone.
It'd be 1.
Yeah. What do we get the 1 for, though, Chris?
Turning up, putting the right shirt on, putting the boots on the right way around. I don't know.
I think 1's generous, but so we've got 2 4s, a 5 and a 6. So let's go to our YouTube poll on Jackie Harrison. 86% have gone 5, so I'm happy to go for a 5 there on Jack. It's pretty conclusive, that. So last of the starters, Patrick Bamford. Again, I've got to defend Patrick because the service into him was terrible. Yeah. But like Jack Harrison, he's not quite on it at the minute. I know the service, we can talk about the service, but his general play didn't press particularly well for me today. It's a pretty simple 5 for me. I just think it's a classic 5 out of 10. Nothing I can really say that makes me think any less. Nothing that makes me think he can be any more. What were you saying, Justin, on Paddy today?
I think it were, apart from like his striking position, he were up and down field. He were doing his bit. I'm a 5, but I'm not liking him. He just didn't get any. He didn't get anything to play with. So I can't blame him for him getting a 5. It's just I can't give him anything more than a 5 because he didn't really contribute to the game. But I'm not blaming that on him at all.
Okay. I mean, Phil, any thoughts on Paddy today?
Mate, I've said for the last few games, I think it's incredibly hard to give praise to a striker other than in the last game for his defensive work. I thought he was fantastic. The defensive work today wasn't what it was against Man United. And then when it comes to going forward, when we had a striker like, say, Mark Viduka, or even in recent memory, going back to Chris Wood is a big physical presence. He can bully people. He can create things for himself. Whereas I think Bamford relies on wingers and he relies on creativity from midfield. And without that, he kind of looked really isolated for a long period of time now. I'm talking 5 games. And I think he'll be really annoyed looking at the Golden Boot race and seeing that he's still on 14 goals because based on the way he's played this season overall, even if it's only 1 more, he deserves 1 more at this point, and we're not giving him anything. He's had 2 chances in the last 8 games, and they were very difficult chances to take. So at the moment, I feel sorry for him. We're just not creating what he deserves, and he's putting in what he can, but a 5 out of 10 is the max you can give him today. Okay.
Chris?
Yeah, everything that Phil said, mate, and Justin. I've given him a 5 as well. Yeah, he looked a bit lethargic at times, but
do you think he's not injured and not carrying an injury? But I think there's a small group of players that I don't know how to put this. Him, Luke Ayling, and maybe Harrison that are not going through a dip in form, but perhaps I really don't want to feed into the whole Bielsa burnout bullshit. But I think there's a few players that are
I think there's a difference in there between burnout and just being tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're giving their all, 38 games in a season, and I'm not being disrespectful. There is no team in this league that gives their all the way that Leeds United give their all for the 34 games that we've played. So I excuse them being tired.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a core group of players that have played the most minutes that are starting to look a tiny bit leggy. Yeah. But to say that we look leggy when we're 9th in the table is very different to West Brom saying they look tired when they're getting relegated.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think that's a fair shout, mate. I can't disagree with it. There was actually at one point during the game, the camera panned to Dallas and Ayling quite late on. And the pair of them look absolutely ruined. Yeah. And I'm not used to seeing our players looking absolutely ruined.
Yeah, those are the two players you expect to be the least ruined.
Yeah, so there probably is a case. And I mean, a lot of clubs have been whinging about the compressed season and everything else. You know what I mean? I think all clubs are fatiguing, and we're probably one of the least fatigued. And we do so much more heavy running, quick running, sprints, pressing. So they deserve to be a bit. If they are a bit tired, I can fully understand them being a bit tired. I'd be knackered. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, cool. We all would.
It's not like they get time off during the week either to rest, because they're back on the training pitch getting thrashed on there as well.
They will at 5 a.m. tomorrow as well.
Yeah, the stats won't say it's burnout. We know that. So it's not burnout. It's just fatigue and coming to the end of the first season in the Premier League as well, where everything's next level up, the speed of the game, everything. And I think he is one of those players who just looks like he's getting towards being ready for his holiday, and fully deserves one for the season he's put in. So I gave him a 5 as well. And that's more judging the people around him as much as him on his own as well. Like Justin said, he can't score if he's not getting any service. So yeah, can't give him any less, can't give him any more. 5 for Paddy for me, mate.
Okay, so that's 3 5s. And Justin, were you going 5 as well, mate?
I went 5, yeah.
So that's 4 5s there on Paddy Bamford. So on the poll, we have...
Hang on a minute, Oscar. Christhorpe Junction. Yeah, I know, mate. I've been one of them. It's very different, mate. It's very, very different. Believe me. I did it for a lot of years, and trust me, I've been fatigued doing that as well, to the point where I can't keep my eyes open. So you can't compare apples and pears, mate.
You can't compare.
It's ridiculous. I'm sure you couldn't run around like they've done for 33, 34 games in a Premier League season and still be fresh as a daisy. Bit of perspective, mate. That's all I'm asking for there with that. I know we're all a bit on edge today because it was a dump performance, but we've got to compare apples with apples a little bit sometimes.
It's always dangerous territory, isn't it? Comparing football, and obviously football is the money they earn compared to, other people in the country. It's it's just it's not something I think you can compare with football.
A body's still a body, mate. They're not robots. Exactly. You know what I mean? You can pay them $100,000 a week. The body's still going to tire eventually. Doesn't matter who you are.
No, exactly. It's I'm sure they're not wanting to get tired, kind of thing. I would definitely agree with that. I think it's just the nature. It's the nature of the season. I think all the teams you might see some very boring games towards the end of the season. You might see some very low-scoring games that don't really get. We saw it last season, to be honest, towards the end of it, where the games were pretty terrible towards the end, when the players really do get fatigued.
Annoyingly, though, that's where I did expect, and I still expect us to come into our own, because I still think that the standards that physically Bielsa commands of our players is so much higher.
I agree, Phil. I think there's still a couple of times this season we're going to run over a couple of teams.
Yeah, I think West Brom and Southampton, we averaged an 8-0 win over those two in the first game. I think in the return legs towards the end of this season, I mean, I'll be really annoyed if I'm wrong, but West Brom at home, I think we could smash them. And Southampton again, I think we could absolutely smash them. Not looking forward to Burnley or Tottenham, but the other two games, I think they could be a tonking. If we're as fit as we think we are and they're not, as I expect, I think they could be a tonking.
Okay. Well, let's move it on a little bit, because Bamford, we've given a 5 there. So let's move on to, I think, these last 3 players. I mean, we'll just give numbers on. We'll just give numbers on these last 3 players. Ian Poveda, what would you give him out of 10, Justin?
5 again. But I do think he's going to become a really good player. I think he's going to be maybe a bit like a Pablo style with a couple of years. well, but yeah, just a 5.
Okay. Chris?
Pervader.
Yeah.
4. Just no
4.
end product, mate. Some nice touches, and he looked like he wanted to do something. I'll give him credit there, but he's too lightweight for me as well. He needs to come down the garage of gains and do some lifting with me. Put a bit of beef on, because he's still growing into himself. The kid's young. Do you know what I mean? There's definitely a footballer in there without a shadow of a doubt. He's got all the tricks. We just need to see a bit of end product from him, but it'll come. But 4 today for me, mate.
Okay. I'm going to go 5 as well. I'm going to go 5 along with Justin there. What were you thinking, Phil?
I think 4 is incredibly harsh. I think he had one game off the bench against Liverpool where he looked really exciting, and the last 2 substitute appearances haven't been quite the same. I'd still give him a 6 today. For the first 10-15 minutes that he was off the bench, I thought he looked like someone that wanted to create something before sinking into his shell, which then would have retreated me to a 5. Just want to point out at this stage, I haven't given anybody a 0.5 yet. So I'm going to stick to that. I'm staying 6. I could go 0.5 lower, but I'm saying 6. I think out of the under 23s lot, I think he's the most promising. I think he offers the most excitement moving forward, and I include Tyler Roberts in that. I think when he's come off the bench, I think he's given us something that at times Jack Harrison hasn't, at times Helder Costa, and even Rafinha hasn't. He has no fear. He will run at people. He will try his Pablo Hernandez-esque tricks, and he'll give it what he can. And there's no sort of holding back, which I like from him. He's young, he's enthusiastic, he's full of energy, and I like him. I think he, in the next few years, could be really important for us. So I don't really see why we could mark him down to a 4 today, to be honest.
Okay. Well, we've got 2 5s, a 6, and a 4. We'll just go to the YouTube poll. 89% have gone 5, so we'll have to go with 5 there on Pervader overall. Next player, who again, Rodrigo. He came on for the last half an hour. Didn't really see him in the game.
Do you know what, mate?
I'd have to go same as Paddy. To be honest, 5.
Do you know what, mate? I feel a bit for Rodrigo today. I think we hung him out to dry. He was. Yeah. Everyone else seemed to have given up by the time he came on, and there was points where he was running his knackers off, and he's not as an efficient presser as Paddy, but he busted his nut today. He did. If you watched him off the ball, he never stopped trying to get to that man with the ball, and no one backed him up a lot of the time with the press. And I thought, I do think we hung him out to dry massively. What did I give Paddy? 4 or 5? I gave him a 5, didn't I? Because I said you couldn't go higher or lower on Paddy. I'm going to give Rodrigo the same. Yeah, I felt for him today. We just hung him out.
Yeah.
Okay. Justin, what were you thinking for on Rodrigo?
I'll go with what Chris said really there. Big time he come on, I think. No. 5.
Okay. Yeah, it's just. I can't think of anything good he did. I can't think of anything especially bad he did.
Of a great man.
There was one bad thing.
Okay.
It was a Brighton set piece where it was going out of play, and he stopped it from going out of play, put it right into our 6-yard box, and they could have scored. Other than that,
was Tyler, wasn't it?
I wasn't sure whether
the one in Ben White.
I thought it was Rodrigo. I might be wrong.
100% Tyler. I've even noted that down actually. Yeah, it was Tyler. The one for Ben White, they just nodded over the bar.
Yeah, where he
was Tyler.
All right, okay. I thought that was Rodrigo. But no, my original point that I was going to make was when the substitution was made, bearing in mind the fun that we have with my missus on here, me and my missus both looked at each other. Well, we both said it at the same time. We saw Patrick Bamford was coming off, and we saw Rodrigo was coming off, and we both went, no! And then we looked at each other and just sort of went, shit, did we just agree? And that seemed to solve all the problems we've ever had in our relationship ever. So if that happens every week, everything's fine. But no, me and my missus both looked at each other and just went, "That's not a great idea." And like Chris said, it was a case of hanging him out to dry. I didn't think that was the right game to bring him on in. I think Paddy is a more effective presser than Rodrigo, and bringing Chris, like Chris said, Rodrigo could have pressed until his heart is fully content, and it wouldn't have been enough in this game. It seemed really daft to bring him on in this game for me. So I've given him a 5. Anything lower is harsh, but anything higher is sort of also not really realistic either. So 5 seems fair.
Okay. And so that's 4 5s, isn't it? It's 4 5s. Let's just look at the Twitter poll. The YouTube poll, even the YouTube poll. Yeah, 5s for Rodrigo as well on that one. Again, last player to talk about. He played 10 minutes. I can't remember Pablo touching the ball. 5 out of 10 for me for Pablo. What are you thinking, Justin?
Same. I think I saw him touch ball twice. Can't really give a rating on it. I'll just go an average 5. But like you say, it's hard to rate him because he didn't play that much ball.
No, exactly. Just he just came on, and then the game was done by that time.
Bang on it top. We could all just cheer Pablo.
Even if we lost the game 3-0 and that made it 3-1, we're just still getting something.
It's coming, West Brom. I promise you, it's coming.
Nah, that just something before this month. He needs to do something this month, just to that one last party piece before.
West Brom's the party piece.
Yeah, hopefully, mate.
Him and Berardi together.
Oh, Berardi assist or something, or Pablo assisting to Berardi. Oh, lovely stuff. What are you thinking, Pablo, out of 10?
Me or Chris?
You.
Me.
Yeah.
You normally throw a name in there. You didn't. Sorry.
I did say Phil just as you were talking. And did you? Yes, you. Okay, yes, you.
Right, fine. I'm moving on. Right. 5. I haven't given him a rating. I think I'm going off on a tangent. You're not going to like it. I think this is the kind of game where we've said we didn't see the point in bringing Rodrigo on. I don't see the point in bringing Pablo on. I don't see the point in bringing Poveda on. This is the kind of game whereas I'm not going to challenge Marcelo Bielsa because I adore the man, but towards the back end of the season, I would like to see, I know he wasn't on the bench today, Joe Gelhardt. I would like to see Sam Greenwood. I would like to see Somerville. I'd like to see Shackleton. I think this is the kind of game where when we're 1-0 down or even at 2-0 down, I think we should be bringing some of the kids on. And I know that might not be a popular opinion. I know it might be a popular opinion. I don't really care which way it goes. But I genuinely think there was no way after the starting lineup was revealed that I thought we were going to get a win from this game. I thought we were going to get a draw at best. And when we were 1-0 down, I didn't give a shit about seeing one of the kids thrown on. And if he would have thrown Sam Greenwood on, or if he would have thrown Niall Huggins on, or someone like that instead of Pablo, I wouldn't be sat here giving Pablo Hernandez the 5 that I don't want to give him. And that might sound bitter, and I don't want it to, but Pablo deserves more, and it's sad to see the way that Pablo's going out, and I'm hoping that he gets that swan song at West Brom that I'm fully expecting him to get.
No, exactly. And Chris, what were you thinking numbers-wise on Pablo, mate?
Yeah, I've got to agree with sort of everything Phil said there, mate. I think I prefer to see the kids coming on now and being given a run out and just see what we've got there in the first team. Because 50% of that reason is because I don't want to see Pablo go out like this. I hope against West Brom, he sticks the armband on him. He probably won't, but he sticks the armband on him and he leads the team out and he gets a good 80 minutes. And then there's some fans in the ground who can clap him off the pitch because Pablo deserves that. Because he dragged this team up to the Premier League in those last few games through the Championship season and up to Swansea, coming on at half-time, changing games, all the rest of it, and has been a great ambassador for the club for 5-6 seasons when we were absolute dogger. At least as fans going to Ellen Road, we could look forward to watching Pablo Hernandez nutmeg people. So fingers crossed, mate, he gets that when he leaves. Love him to bits. It's really sad to see.
Yeah.
Time just caught up with him, mate. Do you know what I mean? He's 35, 36 years old, and the Premier League's a quick league to play in, and unfortunately his legs just aren't there. He will be the legend within a team of legends that got us back to the Premier League, and I love him to bits. I hope he gets the send off he deserves, mate. But I'll give him a 5 today. I can't go lower. I can't go higher.
I think we all do. We all want that send off.
Yeah. I think City fans at the moment are thinking the same way about Sergio Aguero. I know it's a big leap to make. I think Sergio Aguero is getting the farewell that Pablo Hernandez deserves as well. And Pablo Hernandez, I hope we do a show on All Leeds TV over the summer where there's no games, where we sit back and we look over the 5-6 years that Pablo has given us beautiful moments.
I think that's a great shout, mate. I think that's honestly a great shout.
It should be done, because when it comes to the service that he's provided this club and the gratitude that he deserved and the way that he's going to go out, it's not going to be the way that he deserved it to be. And for that Swansea moment alone, like Jermaine Beckford has that moment against Man United, and he has that moment against Bristol Rovers, and I'll love Jermaine Beckford for that forever. But Jermaine Beckford had the fans to say goodbye to him. Jermaine Beckford has the fans to still love him on the Leeds United podcast and just being around the club. For me, when Pablo Hernandez leaves, he's going back to Spain, and it's very easy to think that in these COVID times that he might be forgotten. And I hope he doesn't think that that's what Leeds fans are going to feel the way that we feel about him. I will always be grateful for that Swansea moment alone.
I almost wish, and this is now with hindsight and with the way this season's gone for him, I almost wish he'd gone after taking us up.
Yeah, that's the painful thing, isn't it?
He's gone out on that Swansea moment.
Yeah, I really do.
That.
Forever and a day, he will love him.
It would have been fair on him. It would have been the right thing to do for him, and He had a chance to leave in January, and even in January, I would have rather seen him go, as sad as it is. I just hope that when he gets that chance against West Brom, I love the fact that Bielsa is all about integrity. I love the fact that he's all about honouring the competition. But if Pablo doesn't start against West Brom and doesn't get the send-off that he deserves, the same with Berardi. I think they both deserve their chance to say their goodbyes to fans.
I think if they don't start, mate, I think you're right. I think it leaves a slightly sour taste for a lot of fans. I do.
Yeah. I'm hoping Bielsa knows that. I'm sure he will, but I hope they both get their chance to say goodbye. And like, none of us are going to be in the stadium. Let's be honest. The four of us, we all love those boys. I don't expect any of us four to be in that stadium. If you are, I'm very jealous, and I hope you make the most of it. I would be if I was there. I'd be on the pitch. But
I know Joe said that ticket got picked out, though, didn't he?
Yeah, but
I tell you what, mate. If they arrange something for it, like it was the last game of the season, and say because there'll only be so many fans allowed in, if any.
Yeah.
If they said, you know what, we're going to do like they did when we won the league, and they were going to do an open top bus, I'd be at Ellen Road with bells on to say bye to Pablo Hernandez.
No, exactly.
I'd stand there for the whole 90 minutes while the game was being played and just sing his song for him over the top of the stand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't think he deserves a statue, but at the same time, I think he deserves all of us to be stood outside the East Stand singing his name. And I've still got the videos on my phone of when I was at the East Stand, seeing all those stupid people just being absolutely blind drunk singing Pablo Hernandez, and he was in the window going like that.
Yeah.
And, I've got those videos, and they will mean a hell of a lot to me for the next 30 years going forward, educating my child, my children. And I just hope he has that moment for himself. And the same for Berardi. They are the two songs that when I teach my kids about this era of my life, they're the two songs that I'll teach my kids. And I hope that I've got one here now that's nearly 5. I hope that I can show him the faces that mean those songs, because he sings them to me on a night before he goes to sleep. I'm hoping he can see that face one more time and understand the person behind that song and what it means to me, like I did for my mum and dad. I didn't know Billy Bremner the way my mum did, and I'm hoping that my son can know Pablo Hernandez and Gaetano Berardi the way that I did.
Well, let's leave it there, guys. Let's leave it there. It's been, again, It's been a gutting day in that sense, but hopefully we do get that one
I'll
last
tell you
bit of
what.
joy from Pablo.
While it was sad, that was quite a nice point to finish on, I think.
Yeah, it was. It was. I think that was a positive way to finish it. But Justin, thanks so much for joining us, mate. I'm gonna let you go now, mate. But thanks so much for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed your Leeds TV debut, and we see you many times, mate.
Yeah, hopefully next time it's on a better occasion.
Hopefully, when we beat Tottenham, we'll see you again, mate.
Yes.
But hopefully, be more positive. Thanks so much, Justin. We will hopefully see you next week, man. See you later, mate. And guys, I guess we will leave it there anyway. Please smash that subscribe button if you haven't done already. Smash a like on this video. And yeah, and there's plenty of content over the last game, really. Just check it out, guys, and we'll be back again. I don't know. We'll be back again at some point. Big thanks to Chris and Phil for joining us again, guys. And we will leave it there anyway. We will leave it there. And cheers for watching, guys.
See ya.
Press the button.